guys, welcome to the Blast from the Past movie podcast.
And we're sideways on Facebook. Yeah, we're sideways on Facebook.
Yeah, I know that.
That's
So this is the podcast we talk about movies from the past and if we should or should not be remade. And sometimes we just rip movies a new one because they deserve it.
Or sometimes we just don't like them.
Or we just don't like them. Once again, guys, we are covering the whole entire Marvel Cinematic Universe in release order all the way up to Endgame. So if you want to know a little insight about the about the movie, and you don't read the comics, then this is the podcast for you. We're going to try to answer any questions. Feel free. If you're on the Instagram or on the Facebook, feel free to ask any questions you want, and we'll go into that. All right. So we going in order here, guys. So the next movie we have on our list is Captain America: Winter Soldier, came out in 2014.
Yep.
All right, Captain America. A lot of people on the podcast have been wanting to do this for a while because it's probably a lot of people's favorite. But I want to open up this podcast by asking one question. You know what? So we see, the title of this movie being Captain America: Winter Soldier.
Okay.
And so we find out that Captain's long lost best friend, Bucky, is an assassin known as Winter Soldier, right?
Yes.
Yep.
So how important is Bucky / Winter Soldier, and why?
Okay. Should I start with this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So going forward with Endgame and beyond, it seems that Chris Evans, the actor who plays Captain America, his contract is supposed to be up. So he's going to be retiring as the character. However, Sebastian Stan, the actor who plays Bucky, has another, I think, like 5 more movies on his contract. So he might be taking up the Captain America mantle.
As he did in the comics.
As he did in the comics.
Okay, then. So I guess that's what we're asking. Why is Winter Soldier important to know about?
Winter Soldier gives you more insight on what happened in the first Captain America. It lets you know what happened to Bucky, that he didn't die. But that happens in a lot of movies. He just got frozen in ice, suspended animation. Sort of the same thing that happened to Cap.
Okay.
Only difference is Cap went home, Bucky went to Russia.
Blake?
Yeah, and also Bucky periodically gets thawed out to murder someone, then frozen back up again.
So how important is the character himself? Like, how important is Winter Soldier going forward to other movies?
Like Mike was saying, that they are setting up Bucky replacing Captain America,
Possibly.
Possibly replacing Steve Rogers as Captain America, because every so often you see him holding up the shield or doing stuff like that. And besides that, Winter Soldier, not just the character but the movie itself, is important to the grand scheme of the MCU because it helps make Steve Rogers a little more jaded about the world around him.
Yes, that's definitely true, because one of the big twists of the movie is that Hydra has infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. after World War II all the way up until the present. So there's a dissolution of S.H.I.E.L.D. completely, and you see more of the effect of this in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show.
Which, by the way,
not so much in the movies, but
which, by the way, sort of spoiled the movie if you didn't see it opening weekend.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah. But yeah, as Blake here pointed out, way that S.H.I.E.L.D. collapsed and everyone that Cap really trusted in that agency turned out to be Hydra agents. Like that definitely turns him into the more grizzled and less optimistic Steve Rogers that we have seen in Infinity War and possibly going forward.
So I want to ask you, Kills, with Winter Soldier, does his character importance to the next movie?
What do you mean?
So basically I want to ask, and here's my second question pretty much, is how important is it to watch this Marvel film compared to others, especially when it comes to Winter Soldier?
Okay, well, the whole thing with the Winter Soldier is he's Cap's Achilles heel, bottom line. He's his best friend. So it's almost like anybody, if your best friend, that you consider like family, if they're wrong, if you feel they're being wrongfully accused of something, you're going to go out on a limb and do everything you can to bring them back to the side of right.
Okay.
Even if that means going against orders.
By the way, you really see more in Civil War.
Yeah.
Right, but
Yeah.
it starts out here.
Right.
But another thing also worth noting is Bucky is kind of Cap's only link to the past that he knew.
True.
Is this important for people to know, though?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sets up a lot of the things, like they said, like in Civil War, like in Infinity War. It sets up a lot of things going forward. So I'm believing
For Cap's character.
Okay.
So it's part of the reason why he becomes Nomad in Infinity Wars. It's part of that reason. But I believe, did Bucky? I don't remember the snap. Did Bucky make it through the snap?
No,
he was the first one to dust.
He was the first one to dust. Okay. So this is going to pull a lot of Cap in a direction where we're going to see him go further down that rabbit hole.
So Blake, how important, like once again, how important is this movie to watch? Like what's so important about this movie to watch? I mean, you guys touched on some things, but what are some other important reasons why people should watch this movie and compare it to any other Marvel movie?
Well, I kind of feel like we touched on a lot of stuff in this movie, but besides importance of story, it's just a well-made movie.
Okay.
Like, it's a great spy thriller, which, again, you wouldn't really expect from a traditional superhero movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it has probably one of the saddest scenes I've ever seen in an MCU movie.
Okay.
Where Steve figures out that Peggy Carter, his girlfriend from World War II, is still alive, visits her in a nursing home, and you see her, and you see the actress who played her in the movie with like this really convincing old age makeup and special effects, just telling him, "I'm so sorry about the world we've left you, and if I had my way, it would have been a better place for you to come back to."
Yeah.
And Steve's just being like really supportive, and then she starts coughing up, asks for water. Steve leaves her field of vision for a second to get a glass of water, comes back, and she's like, "Steve, is that you? I've waited for so long." And you just realize, oh man,
Alzheimer's.
Yeah, and this is before we find out that Bucky is still alive.
Yeah.
And this is one of his few connections to the past. And every single time, he just has to see her heartbroken. Okay.
Now, Kills, how far off was Winter Soldier's character from the actual comic?
Actually, it really wasn't that far off.
Okay.
I actually believe that they did a lot of research as far as we want this character and Cap's character to kind of be the closest to the comics that we can get them.
Got you.
One of the things I wanted to touch on, and we didn't bring up, when Blake brought up the Peggy, I like the fact that her granddaughter or daughter?
I think it was niece.
Her niece.
Yeah.
It was her niece. Was the connection between Cap and S.H.I.E.L.D.
Mm-hmm.
Which
he didn't know about.
Well, yeah, because they don't reveal that until Civil War.
Right.
Honestly, but
Well, they did kind of touch on it towards the end of.
They mentioned she's worked for S.H.I.E.L.D., but not that she's related to Peggy Carter.
Okay then. So we have a scene where Nick Fury is getting his ass gunned down in a car.
Yes.
By the way, fantastic scene. There's just a great car chase scene.
Which seems to be like a mantra of everything happens. Everything happens to his ass in his car. Like he's always in his car, and something always happens to him. That's probably one of my favorite scenes. You know, I figure how you get away. And this is
a cool scene.
And this is where we first get not the first glimpse, but I guess was this the first glimpse?
Yeah, like the first sentence about something up with S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, and something's up with S.H.I.E.L.D. and we're the first time we see Winter Soldier, but we don't know he's a Winter Soldier, right? Because he stops him with the
he does that cool thing where he shoots a magnetic mine.
Yeah,
and just goes up in the bottom of Fury's car and flips it. It's just a great scene.
Yeah, that's a great scene.
See this movie. Just see this movie.
I mean, with that scene, I like all that was cool. You know, the bounce of the magnetic mine.
Yeah,
that was cool. The skipping stone, basically. I just like the fact that when he went to go get Fury out of the car, Fury had literally cut a hole, not in just the top of the car, but in the concrete as well. Our first show of a lightsaber, people.
Kinda.
And of course, it was ruled by Mace Windu.
Exactly.
And you know what? I wanted to touch on this just briefly for a second because we never talk about him and we don't give him enough credit. But Nick Fury, you know,
the original Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Pretty much the original Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. and just his badass moment towards the end of the movie. Everybody think he's dead and Hydra's infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. and they need the two people to what was it?
So it's like a retina scan.
Yeah, retina scan. And he's like, you thought I wouldn't erase you? Like, yeah, but then he has the eye.
Puts on the eye patch. See, it's
which fast forward, if you see Captain Marvel, then you understand how this happens.
How he lost his eye.
Yeah, he lost his eye, which is kind of weird. Anyway. So Blake, I already know you want to there. So
we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
But yeah. So what else about this movie do you think people should take away though? What is it? Another thing about this movie that people should take away going into? Let's just say going into Endgame.
Endgame don't have. I mean, we're talking about it, but to see this movie, for me, Endgame has nothing to do with it. This is just a must see.
Yeah, I kind of agree. It's like maybe it doesn't have that big of a connection to Endgame itself, but as far as quality and character interactions, and also an introduction of Falcon.
Yes.
Yeah, we do see Falcon for the first time.
Definitely worth
Crossbones.
watching. Yeah, definitely worth watching.
As a good guy, or a semi good guy.
But again, just it's just a great movie.
Yeah.
How important is Falcon to the overall story?
I mean, kind of the same situation with Bucky. He could possibly be a replacement for Cap as well.
Again, as in the comics.
Which is, I think that's current in the comics, isn't it?
No, it's back to Steve.
No, it's back to Steve.
Pretty recently, though.
But yeah,
Yeah,
he was the one right before Steve came back.
Like up until like
Right.
a year or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right before Steve came back, Falcon was actually Captain America with the wings. That's what I liked about that.
Hold on one second.
He kept his Falcon wings.
Quick shout out. I got a shout out to my boy Steve Cruz. Thanks for looking in. Hey Pam, thanks for tuning in on the podcast. We appreciate you guys. And if you guys are just now tuning in, we are talking about Captain America, Winter Soldier, and how it pertains to going into Endgame for the final Avengers movie. Now, speaking of final Avengers movie, I want to ask you guys about this particular Captain America movie. Could this be the only Captain America movie you can see? Like, I mean, do you have to see the first Captain America?
Well, I don't think you'd have to see the first
No, you don't have to see the first one.
Yeah.
But you definitely would have to see Civil War
Gotcha.
or to get the full scope of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that the if you were gonna watch this movie, unlike the Iron Man and the Thor movies, with Captain America, seeing the first Captain America will explain the relationship
Yeah.
between the Winter Soldier and Steve Rogers.
Okay.
Or Bucky Barnes, however you want to put it. I also believe in this one, it showed more of Cap's versatility because, like, on the ship, the main bad guy tells Cap, "Are you just a shield?" And it shows that Captain America actually is a fighter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not to mention an awesome elevator fight.
That was
and I believe Chris Evans recently said that was his favorite scene to film.
the elevator fight.
Yeah.
Cool.
Out of all the Marvel movies that he appeared in, that was his favorite scene to film.
Okay then.
Yeah.
So if you want to see Chris Evans' favorite scene that he shot,
I heard that Captain America, well, Lana plays Captain America.
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans and Black Widow.
Scarlett Johansson.
They wrote a couple of their own scenes. I mean, not scenes, but they
I can
wrote
imagine-
dialogue for their scenes.
I can imagine
I
that,
can
yeah.
see that. Yeah.
So that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, they
to
got
hear
pretty
that.
good chemistry, so I could get that.
Yeah.
You know, one of my favorite lines in the movie is actually in the elevator scene.
Is it?
It's before we get started, would anybody like to get off?
Yeah, just sort of like
Because he already knew when
Yeah.
they kept getting on the elevator. He was like,
Yeah.
the shit's about to hit the fan.
it's sort of
Yeah.
okay. Last
He
chance,
knew he was
guys.
gonna beat all of them.
Yeah.
You know, guys, last chance. Everybody wants to get out of here without a broken jaw.
Yeah.
But you know what's so sad is, what if you was in between floors? You're like, okay, I want to get off. I'm just waiting for the next floor. yo, Cap, I'm just trying to get off. Let me get to the next floor.
You know,
Just
yeah,
wait till y'all start if I get off.
Yeah, I just
But could you imagine being that guy that's all the way up against the glass after everybody's got on standing next to Cap when he says it and goes, can somebody push number 22?
yeah, I just need to talk to Carol from accounting about something.
Yeah, they should put that in there. That'd be
check.
hilarious. That'd be hilarious. That's the video you said, the guy from the back, he's like, yeah, I get off on the next floor, whatever it is.
Just get an op-ed from community to just say, yeah, I just get someone hit 20.
They missed a couple hours on my check. I'm just going to payroll.
You know what's so funny is, I think that would have been a perfect time to implement. Imagine that was Stan Lee. He's in my way on the floor, and he's like, Stan Lee gets off.
No, because see, for me, Stan Lee would have been the guy from the mailroom, the old guy in the mailroom.
Okay.
So he'd have had to have a cart with him.
Yeah.
Willy Lumpkin.
But I think that would have been hilarious, though.
Yeah.
That would have.
That would have been hilarious. So I'm like, man.
I'd tell you had a good cameo in this one.
Yeah, I forgot his cameo. What was his cameo on this one?
He was the janitor at the Captain America Museum.
At the museum.
He notices the old school World War II uniform is missing. It's like,
I'm so get fired for this.
Oh, yeah, he does say that. Yeah.
R.I.P. Generalissimo.
Oh, my God. So, okay, so Captain America is obviously, distraught over his best friend being now his mortal enemy. So, pretty much, for the most part. And so, some people ask me, what does the red star represent on the
Arm of the Winter Soldier?
Armor of the Winter Soldier? Yeah.
Well, actually, they missed a lot of. Well, the original Winter Soldier from the comic actually had the red star and sickle.
Yeah, because in the comics he was like programmed by the KGB. So
Okay.
So he had the red star and the sickle. They didn't do this. I don't know why they didn't do the sickle, because they went with dang near the same storyline of what happened.
maybe because in this version,
But it's Hydra, not
the
specifically Russians. Yeah.
But I guess
So why wasn't the Hydra symbol put on him then?
Do you want to know?
Well, but like I said, to me.
Maybe. Oh, wait! I got
it.
No, I got to answer Carl's question.
Okay.
Reason that the Hydra symbol wasn't on his arm because at that time people didn't want to know that Hydra was still around.
Yeah, it would have spoiled the reveal.
Right.
Okay then. Okay. Then.
By this point, they thought Hydra was gone.
Now,
But to me, that kind of messed up too, because you showed that Hydra was still around because what's his name? Gary Shandling had a Hydra pin on.
Nobody was paying attention to pins.
I was, and then he whispers "Hail Hydra" in the guy's ear.
Yeah, but that wasn't until after the reveal, though.
Come on now.
Now here's my question though, right? He's clearly called the Winter Soldier.
Right.
Why?
Because whenever he's not in use, they keep him frozen.
Oh, that's why.
Nice, yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. See, I don't know if anybody else knew that because I didn't know. That's. I'm like, wait, why they call him Winter Soldier? Like, he's not fighting in wintertime?
Yeah.
He don't use no ice gun. I'm just curious to why they was calling him fucking Winter Soldier.
Robert Redford even says at one point, put him back on the ice.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, speaking of, part of this guy wishing that Robert Redford's character name was Del Rusk. And for those of you who don't know, rearrange the letters. You get something fun.
Okay, yeah.
Red Skull. I'm saying
Red Skull. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Again, it's another shot.
You literally have to write it down to do it.
But again, it's like one of those things that part of me is sort of wishing that was the case, but as it is, still a good performance.
Okay, then. All right, so what are some of your final thoughts on this movie? We got some few minutes still, but what's some of your final thoughts on this movie? Captain America Winter Soldier.
Best fight choreography out of all the movies as well.
Okay.
Absolutely. The fight scene, it was like right under the bridge overpass, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's an excellent knife fight between Cap and Bucky, and it's literally like block with the knife in one hand, he drops it and then catches it to make another swipe, and like that's the kind of choreography that like just blows my mind.
Okay.
And it was flawless too. It was. I don't know how many takes they did to get that flawless.
Yeah.
I mean, it was beautiful.
Shout out to the stunt worker.
Yes.
It was a stunt guy. It was a great stunt team. We don't ever give them enough credit. We don't give the stunt team enough credit because so many people don't do their own freaking stunts. So if you're watching, you're on a stunt team somewhere, kudos to you, man, because
you make these movies awesome.
You make these movies awesome, exactly, man. So that's what's up. What about you, Blake?
Fantastic movie all around. Not just fight choreography, but probably some of the best performances in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's probably one of the best written stories so far.
Got it.
Although I have to admit, not my favorite Captain America movie, but it's definitely a close second.
Okay. But like you guys said, people can probably just see this Captain America movie and still get it going into Endgame.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, if you don't want to know the relationship between Bucky, they're gonna they touched on it in Civil War and they touched on it in Infinity War. But if you're not that invested in seeing what their relationship was, then from this movie, you could totally go from here.
Okay. Anything else y'all want to add to about Captain America Winter Soldier?
I will just say this, Carl, you're a Lord of the Rings fan, right?
Yeah.
You know how a lot of people make gay jokes about Frodo and Sam?
No, but okay, go ahead.
Well, there is actually a very active community online who do the same thing with Captain America and Bucky. Again, I'm not sure where I was going to work it in somewhere, but it's like
what does that have to do with
people are
anything?
going to be upset if we don't mention this.
Well, my thing about it is this: you have nothing else to do in your spare time than to crack gay jokes on one of the best fantasy films out there was, and two, one of the best Marvel films ever. You have nothing else better to do with your time.
I mean,
Really?
I mean, I gotta be honest. I'd be lying if I don't see where people are coming from with this. But
I never got none of the inclination. I never really thought about it.
My question to you, I hate to say it, and I hate to say it this way because you're making me do it. Not you guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
But the people out there, you're making me do it. Are you that homophobic? To have, wait a minute. To have a you've never had a best friend you've been that close with. Never in your life. Sam and Frodo, best friends.
Mm-hmm.
Best friends. When you have a friend that you get frozen in ice with, or get frozen in ice and he gets frozen in ice and y'all both come back, and you can rekindle that friendship to where they are now in Infinity War, that's a friendship.
I don't know, man. I
It is not- it's not that.
I hate the
It
fact
doesn't
that,
have to be a forced relationship.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not.
just like, what the hell? I never think about that. Like, the thought never even crossed my freaking mind. So I don't know what the hell it is. So
again, I'm not the person to say that. It's people on the internet who do this.
well, at least people on the internet, I don't know what's their problem. Like, it's not a win.
Shipping is its own thing.
Yeah, it is. So, it is what it is. But, whew. All right, guys. So that was our Captain America Winter Soldier, guys. And once again, this has been The Blast from the Past movie podcast. Now, if you're on live, give us about a 5-minute interval, 5-minute break, and then we'll go into our next Marvel film, which is going to be Guardians of the Galaxy, guys.
Another
so make
good
sure
one.
you guys tune into that, guys. Okay. Yeah. So what?
Sorry, I just had to do that. I did that at least once.
Okay.
All right,
guys. So once again, this has been the Blast from the Past movie podcast. I'm one of your hosts, CJ,
I'm Mike.
Joe Kill, keeping it real.
This has been Blake.
and we be out.
Peace.
Peace.
All right, stay tuned for the next podcast, guys. We gonna go off.